valley highway, round about dusk. No one else on the road tonight but you and an old blue pickup truck. Rows and rows of pecan trees, as far as the eye can see. Just about time for harvest after a late fall.
People who know me or know my work have often said, oh yeah, I could tell that was a Diven. You know, I could tell that was yours. And I think, how can you? You know, it's in a different medium, but there, you know, something about us comes through as individuals. Well, I was born in a small town in Illinois. My father was a school teacher, but he brought the family out in 1964 when I was 5 years old. So I grew up here, basically. And I had 4 older brothers who were all interesting, creative people. So through my older brothers, I was exposed to photography, guitar, drawing, and they all were in band. They all learned to play an instrument, so I learned to play an instrument. Having that kind of family, I think, is what introduced me to the possibilities, that these sorts of things were possible. Over the years, I've had opportunity to then explore the other talents. So sequentially, I was able to go from drawing into painting, and from painting to writing and photography, and then music and songwriting, and then sculpture, and then think mostly in terms of the variety of things I do at a professional level. And that's just been the byproduct of trying to accept the responsibility for my gifts, you know. I did my first show on the Las Cruces Community Theater stage when I was in 7th grade, I think. So I think it was in their 10th season, which means I've been doing shows there for 45 years, something like that. Played leads and I played little parts and all that stuff. Most notable past projects, I think Magellan the Dragon at the Renaissance Fair. You know, Celebrate, the bus stop down in front of City Hall. Wall Street, this show I did in Pennsylvania at a gallery, the Laurie Dagenstein Gallery, where they'd seen my street art and had me come in and do this temporary art installation where I just used pastels and chalks and created all these temporary paintings over about 240 feet of linear space on this gallery wall. I just took over the gallery, spent about 2 weeks doing it. And then it was up for a month, and then they washed it all off. It was really cool. People know me for the rat catcher. God, you know, I've been involved with that Renaissance Fair for probably 25, 28 years, I don't know. And one year I was the king. They made me the king, you know, and Sherry White was the queen. She's still the queen. And so I made an outfit and I was the king, and just being the king just didn't suit me. It wasn't very satisfying. It was kind of stuffy and, you know, it wasn't much fun. And I sort of went the opposite direction. The next year I just got this inspiration of, what about a rat catcher? And so I made this ragged peasant costume and I sewed a bunch of dead rats on a stick and went around as this character. And it was like my world had turned around. Something about that character made people feel, they made people laugh, made people feel open to come up and approach me. And then the next year, I think I did that 2 years, and then I got the idea for the Ratapult. And that evolved over a couple of years until eventually this whole Ratcatcher Robert show evolved. And now I've been doing that for, I don't know, 15 years, been doing that show. I've been doing the Sunday editorial cartoon for the Sun News, Las Cruces Sun News, for 11 years now, 11 and a half years. And people tend to call them political cartoons. I insist on calling them editorial cartoons because they're not always political. You know, it took me a month or 2 or 3 or 6 to kind of figure out what my style was going to be, because I had to develop a style that was appropriate to the thing, because you don't want to be spending 6 hours drawing an editorial cartoon. Early on I realized, okay, my job is not to wield a hatchet. My job is more to shine a flashlight. Just say, oh, look, this subject, this issue deserves your attention. And I can't answer all the questions about it, and my perspective may not be the correct one, but, you know, I have to have a point of view, and I have to communicate it. The rabbit is my spokesmodel, is what the rabbit is. And so it always makes my heart go, ugh, when somebody say, you know, I like your cartoons, but I just didn't get last week's. Like, oh. But I have to be philosophical about it, and my idea is that over the years, this is what I say, I said, not everybody gets every cartoon, but eventually everybody gets their cartoon. The cartoon about the thing they care about, right? The best place is either my website, bobdiven.com, or I have a Facebook page, Bob Diven Artist. And there's samples of my work there, and I tend to sort of, mention whatever the latest project was. Find a good school, and don't be afraid that they're going to turn you into something you don't want to be. When you're starting out, don't be afraid to try to imitate somebody else. You're not going to turn into Norman Rockwell if you try to paint a Norman Rockwell. It's impossible. So give yourself the benefit of some good training. And don't worry, you will find your voice. It's a wonderful thing to be able to create things that didn't exist before. It's not bad.